A cozy riverside villa, warm and quiet. The handsome man with rosy lips and white teeth sat on the edge of the bed, eyes downcast, ears tinged faintly red. Crouched at his feet was another man just as striking in appearance. Just then, a voice echoed through the room. "Host, you really are something. Others pour their hearts into quests, but you, my friend, all you do is talk." I ignored the system's complaint entirely, glancing at the man massaging my shoulders. He was my assigned task. Anthony. Long lashes cast soft shadows over his cheeks. Suddenly he looked up. First at me, then at the phone I'd been clutching. His expression shifted slightly, as if unsettled by my attention being drawn elsewhere. But when his eyes flicked back to the screen on my phone, he let out a quiet, incredulous laugh. "Am I not good enough?" His voice carried a chill, edged with something close to frustration. Those striking almond eyes narrowed, fixed on me with quiet reproach. Seems to be scolding. "You ignore what's right in front of you and go chasing live streams instead? A waste of something perfect." The intensity of his gaze made me flinch. I quickly tapped off the screen, guilt flickering beneath my ribs. But then Anthony suddenly wrapped his arms around me. A faint smile played at his lips as he held my eyes with an unspoken challenge. "I'm not just tempting you. I'm already caught." Realizing what I'd done, heat surged into my ears. I tried to pull back, trembling, only for Anthony's grip to tighten just slightly. One look up, and I was swallowed by the depth of his stare. Dark, intense, too close, too dangerous. My pulse spiked. I ducked into my thoughts' frowny face system. How high is Anthony's attraction level now? The system's reply came slow and indifferent, as if I were a minor glitch. "Oh, about 95%. He wants you badly. Take my advice. Don't push him too far." I swallowed hard, my throat dry. My ambition had blinded me to the system's warning. All I could think about was the progress bar, how to close the gap in one decisive move. So I let myself fall into Anthony's rhythm, letting my hands linger just a little longer. 97, 98, 99, 99, but the progress stalled, frozen at 99. My mind, long idle, finally stirred back to life. I fell back on an old trick, playing the part of someone overcome with guilt, soft eyes, trembling hands as I clasped Anthony's. "Anthony, sometimes I really hate that I'm a man." He didn't speak, just raised one brow, quiet but searching. I pressed on, voice thick with emotion. "I love you so much. If only I were a woman, I'd give you 7 or 8 children. Just to watch them run after you, calling you daddy in line like clockwork." He looked at me, stunned, then pulled me close, his arms wrapped around me with quiet reverence. And in my ear, the system's voice came through again. "Congratulations, host. Loyalty score has reached 100%. Anthony, still shaken but composed, took a few deep breaths to steady himself. "Baby, you're amazing. He really can hold it in." The system sighed with exasperation. I let out a quiet breath, relieved. I stayed still in Anthony's arms, not daring to move. The warmth of the room, the comfort of his presence. Everything felt tender, yet my mind was already planning how to leave. After all, the moment I took on this mission, I never imagined I'd end up in a man's arms like this. I'd stepped into the story as the ex-boyfriend of the main character, the wealthy and cold-hearted Horan. My mission was to charm him, take his money, spend it freely, live extravagantly. Each day I'd act out, stir up trouble, disappoint Anthony again and again, until all his affection had faded, then be cast aside without a second thought. A discarded relic of the past. Nothing more than a fading memory, meant only to highlight the purity and grace of the protagonist's redemption arc. But now I'd won him over with nothing but words. No effort, no sacrifice. All I did was promise grand things, feed his hopes, kiss here, a gentle hug there. I refused every other touch. As for anything more intimate, I always found a way to gently decline. "You know me, Anthony. I'm not someone who gives in easily. Can you just hold on a little longer? When we finally marry, I'll be yours. Completely." I lowered my head with feigned shyness, though all I really wanted was to finish the task and disappear. That's why they call it a pie dream. It wasn't ever meant to be real. Every time I acted out a little drama, stirred up fuss, It was just setting the stage for slowly wearing down his affection. I had no choice, had to make him get used to it. Otherwise, if I ever pushed too far later, he might not hesitate to cut me off completely. After all, this was about how smoothly I could step away when the time came. Because once Anthony lost love's warmth, he turned fully toward ambition. His heart grew colder, sharper, until someone finally reached him and changed everything. So before I ever crossed a line, I always made sure to justify it first. When the pressure built too much, I'd bring up that excuse. Realizing I couldn't wait any longer, I started playing my part on the very day my affection score hit full capacity. At 10 in the morning, Anthony's usual time for his team meeting, I didn't think twice before calling. I went straight for irritation, played it annoying on purpose. The moment I spoke, it was all complaints. Where's my favorite little cake for breakfast? Come on, Anthony. Did you stop loving me? You knew how much I loved that brand. Are you trying to starve me? Silence met me across the line, broken only by a few muffled laughs. My heart lurched. Anthony had switched to speakerphone. A wave of embarrassment washed over me. Come on, host. Now's your chance. Say something bad about him, ruin his image in front of the team. I straightened up, gritting my teeth against the urge to curl my toes. You're always stuck on that useless seminar. Earn practically nothing. Honestly, you'd be better off just hanging around at home. The line stayed silent until footsteps faded away, someone leaving the room. Then came Anthony's voice, soft, warm, laced with amusement. Baby, missing me? Too shy to say it. My rant froze mid-sentence. No, how could he already know the real reason I'd been snapping? What was left to say? But my silence only made him chuckle low, tenderly. Good girl. I'll be home soon. I'll bring back your favorite little cake. I pressed my lips together, then ended the call with a sharp click. It wasn't supposed to go like this. When we first met, Anthony was just a quiet kid, shy, withdrawn, couldn't afford the school uniform, wore threadbare clothes every day. But he'd been brilliant, so gifted they admitted him anyway. That naturally drew the ire of some students. They tossed Anthony's backpack into the pond, called him a filthy rat, and taunted him to jump in and clean himself. A fight broke out. Anthony took on 3 at once, holding his ground with fierce precision. Just as it happened, I passed by. I'd assumed the system would let me save him, justify a romance, sweep in smoothly, and win him over effortlessly. Instead, the system recoiled with disdain. Saving him? That's for protagonists to do. Weary the cruel, greedy ex-husband type. We're supposed to toy with his feelings and drain his resources. I glanced at Anthony, gaunt and struggling, then down at my own tailored uniform, the golden crest gleaming. Silence settled over me. What resources could he possibly have to spend? The system fell silent too. It finally registered. Too early for him to be back in his family's wealth. The original heir still untouched by ruin. Then stay far from him, so I obeyed, leaving it alone. Still, I secretly bought 3 new uniforms and left them in his locker. Then came the moment I never expected. Anthony caught me red-handed. In the quiet of the changing room, only the 2 of us remained. And there I stood, holding his shirt to my face, inhaling deeply, only to meet Anthony's icy stare head-on. Under his gaze, every trace of my strange behavior felt laid bare. Remembering how he took down 3 opponents at once, fists flying with brutal precision, I felt a flicker of hesitation. Still, I held my ground, chin lifted defiantly as I stared him down. Damn it, why does he have to be so tall? As Anthony closed in, his brow furrowed, face hardening with unease, I couldn't stop myself from stepping back 2 paces. No use, protagonist energy is still overwhelming. Even at this age, I wasn't the kind of person who could ever challenge someone like him. Then he glanced at the closet and froze when he saw the 3 school uniforms I'd tucked inside. His gaze locked onto them, voice icy, as if he'd never known kindness from a stranger, only mockery and pain. So when faced with this gesture, his first instinct was suspicion. What's this supposed to mean? Before I could answer, he spoke again, cold and sharp. You're trying to frame me for theft? Is that really all you have time for? To make my life harder? I'm here by the school's decision. If you've got a problem, take it up with administration. Come after me like this. Did you not learn your lesson last time? I fell silent. For the first time, a pang of sympathy stirred in my chest. What had he endured to become so guarded? Now's your chance. Knock him down. Show him this school isn't as easy as it looks. Then his admiration will grow, deeply and truly. For you. System, you really aren't human at all. Who would fall for someone just because they got punched? But my silence, Anthony took as agreement. He let out a dry laugh, pulled the uniform from the closet, and tossed it onto me. I froze, dazed. Its edge brushed against my eye. When I blinked again, my eyes were already burning red. Anthony saw it. A boy with flawless features, his cheeks flushed, tears welling from the weight of words he'd thrown so carelessly. For a moment, I couldn't explain it. My chest tightened like something had squeezed it shut. Then came a strange unease. He stared at me, lips pressed tight, voice low and edged with something barely held back. You don't have to cry just because I hit the mark, he muttered. I didn't actually hurt you. So dramatic. I frowned, then noticed him quietly picking up the uniform and offering it back. His expression was stiff, awkward, almost embarrassed. Here, he said. Take it back. Don't mess around like that. His eyes didn't meet mine, but his ears burned crimson. I studied him in silence. Then something clicked into place. If the system won't let me take the redemption path, then I'll go the older brother route. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to be Anthony's big brother. So I shoved the uniform right into his arms. Not a joke, I said. It's yours. You look like you can handle yourself. Why don't you tag along with me? I've got your back. No one will mess with you again. Stick with me, and next year I'll help you find someone special. I quickened my pace, rising onto my toes to meet Anthony's gaze eye to eye, then gave his shoulder a firm, deliberate clap, like someone who'd practiced this kind of move before. I didn't even realize I'd grinned until I saw his expression tighten. Suddenly colder than before, he glanced at me. One look, and I knew I'd missed the mark entirely. I pulled my hand back awkwardly. That day didn't go as planned. I took it hard, thinking he just hadn't seen what I was capable of. Thought I was bluffing. So when the trio showed up again to stir trouble, I stepped forward without hesitation. Here's how it went. They used their family's influence to pressure the school into expelling Anthony. And when he was surrounded, I stepped in, using my own standing to turn the tables. At that moment, I noticed something shift in Anthony's eyes. The cold distance was gone. I kept at him for months after that, talking through the perks of being under my wing, until one day I said, be my guy, and next year, I'll grant you one wish. All right. Just when I thought he'd never go for it, he gave me a quiet yes. My chest lightened instantly. I told the system the good news straight away. Then I checked Anthony's starting affinity score 60. At the time, I had no idea what that number truly meant. Not until now did I understand only genuine instant attraction could produce such a high score. Thinking back, my lips curled upward without thought. Realizing how my expression had betrayed me, I quickly pulled myself together. I have to go. Some lines are just too hard to cross. So I returned to my old tactic of stirring things up. At 4 p.m., I was practicing at home, rehearsing the scene. You're saying Anthony clocks out at 5, but if he's not home by 5:01, you'll create a scene. No. Can't you hear how ridiculous that sounds? That excuse doesn't hold up. I rolled my eyes hard. Back when my influence score was still low, I'd already stirred trouble over small daily things. Logically, Anthony should have been used to it by now. Now I was just raising the stakes, making my antics even more unpredictable. But before I could send off a warning message, I heard the key turning in the lock. The next moment, Anthony stood in the doorway, holding a box of cake. It was exactly the brand I'd once mentioned, on purpose to tease him. The shop was in North City, quite a distance from our place. And when he saw me waiting by the entrance, his eyes softened with warmth. Baby, did you miss me? That's why you're standing here. You're so clingy. He smiled warmly, his fingertip brushing lightly against my nose bridge. I froze for a moment, and then started questioning myself. Had I painted the picture too vividly? He was already turning his charm on me. Something felt off. So I waited until Anthony wasn't around, then asked the system, when's the main character going to come online? The system paused, then responded, the main character has already come online. They just haven't met Anthony yet. You need to quickly spend Anthony's affection. Once it drops enough, they'll appear at Anthony's side. offering redemption. Hearing that, my chest tightened slightly. I pushed down the unease and pressed on. What if I'm too slow? The system's voice turned cold, detached. He won't disappear. If your progress stalls, the small world will evolve on its own. Then the main character's reaction could spiral beyond control. Fine. I steadied my expression, took Anthony's spare card, and headed straight for the shopping district. Instantly transferred several million to my own account. I might as well play the part they expect. Make him see me for what I truly am, a woman who'd sell her soul for a few extra zeros. The scheme had to be big enough to leave an impression. But when I stared at that long string of digits, a memory surfaced, something absurd and strangely familiar. Those endless zeros. They only ever showed up in Chengdu. Back then, just thinking about it had me laughing until I cried. And Anthony, now my closest confidant, just watched me quietly, his expression calm, yet something flickered behind his eyes when I spoke. He really did care back then, a loyal, dependable presence. Every fantasy I painted, he believed in. I'd grown used to handing him impossible tasks like they were orders from a queen. Man, it's scorching out there. Someone who braves the sun for me gets rewarded big. And he did. Ran straight to the corner store and came back with my favorite pineapple ice cream. Ugh, clouds are rolling in. I need an umbrella before class ends. Who'd be my best friend if they brought it? He didn't have one. But without hesitation, he stripped off his jacket and dashed into the downpour. A top student skipping final period, just to deliver shelter from the storm. I'm craving those little cakes from Peking University, but it's so far away, even delivery won't go there. Whoever brought them would be my favorite person. So he crossed half the city. Waited 2 hours in line just to bring me back that tiny treat. The habit took hold. The more I pushed, the better he played along. Even with 500 or 1,000 tossed his way as thanks, he refused every time. Looked like I'd insulted him. Gave me that wounded stare. And each time, it took ages to calm him down. I let out a sigh, deciding to support him in everyday life instead. I paid for clothes he needed and told him, "You're not wearing rags while you're with me. Really ruins my image. And don't even think about taking them off. Whatever I buy, you wear it. Be good. And from now on, I'll take you with me. No other crew members around." Anthony reluctantly agreed. Still, he'd act kind elsewhere, though every now and then, he'd snap, requiring days of soothing from me. Usually, that was when I'd been reckless or misbehaved, and so we drifted through a year full of easy laughter and quiet warmth. But back then, I had no idea Anthony's real wish was to fall for me. When I finally heard it, my breath caught in my throat. Wait. So that's all it takes? Not even close. The system's grating voice echoed in my mind. You need to push his affection score up to 100%. Then hit him with a sudden letdown. Make him realize love isn't some magic cure. Focus on ambition. Rebuild yourself. So, what's his affection level now? 18%. Once it hits 90, that's deep affection. Every point after gets harder to earn, and the more precious it becomes. Still got work to do, host. I said nothing. Was this really just another one of those predictable tropes? Can't you just teleport me straight to the moment after he's fully won over? I'm good at stirring things up. The system let out a dry chuckle. Do you really think the main character's that gullible? He'd know if his lover's core had been replaced. Cut the laziness. As the villainous ex-husband's accomplice, we've got to earn this ourselves. After starting to date Anthony, life seemed much like before. He still took care of me. Then came college, and Anthony was chosen by his advisor for a major research project. His time with me dropped sharply after that. Days passed. He poured every bonus into my expenses, until news came from the Chin family. Rumors of financial collapse. They needed money to send me abroad. That's when it hit me, the timing. This was exactly when Anthony had just completed his first patent under his own name. It would become the foundation of his fortune, launching a product that brought in hundreds of millions after release. Host, sell his patent. Let him see what kind of person you really are. Whether I'm good or not, don't know, but you're truly no human at all. Yet I still went through with it, because according to the system's calculations, if I didn't sell it, Anthony would have done so himself. He'd use the money to cover Chin family's debts. All just so I wouldn't leave, so I wouldn't go abroad and walk away from him. But it was only a temporary fix for Chin family's collapse, because in the setup, their bankruptcy was inevitable. The system insisted character arcs couldn't be changed. My ex-husband was destined to fall into hardship, then start eyeing Anthony. So all the time and effort Anthony had poured into his work, gone, sold without hesitation. And at that moment, he was peacefully asleep. When he finally woke up, his eyes were shadowed with fatigue, hollow and tired. I looked at Anthony, then quietly slipped the bank card, holding the money, under his pillow. For days, he never noticed. He even shared little jokes from the lab with me like before. But I grew quieter each day. Anthony assumed it was just a mood, so he treated me with more care, gentler touches, until the company officially announced his patent's release. He stared in disbelief. He froze entirely. He questioned the lab, doubted mentors and senior colleagues, but never once suspected me. Only when everyone else had been ruled out did his gaze finally land on me. Under that intense stare, my guilt became impossible to hide. I forced a smile, playing my role like some pre-programmed script, cold, calculated, the villain they expected. You're working so hard. Isn't it just to prove you're worthy of me? Well then, I'll let go. I like you enough already. His bluntness was staggering, turning Anthony's eyes red with fury. He glared at me, tense and unreadable, like he didn't know how to handle this moment. And then I saw him strike himself hard across the face. But not a single finger brushed my skin. Watching that broke something inside me. Instinctively, I reached out to comfort him. This time, though, Anthony wasn't the same. He wouldn't be soothed. He didn't even give me a promise this time. Just vanished back into the lab. I couldn't explain it, but my chest felt tight, restless, like something had slipped out of control. Something urgent, slipping through our fingers. He didn't even have time to scold me. Not until the day Chin family announced I was leaving for abroad did he finally emerge from the lab. His appearance was wild, no care, no grooming. A genius once hailed as a legend stood before me with messy hair and hollow eyes. When he saw I was safe at home, relief washed over him. He exhaled like someone who just stopped holding their breath. Samuel, you don't have to go. I've made something new. Look, if we apply this to the Chin family, could reverse everything. Your family won't fall apart. His eyes sparkled with hope, bright, fierce, alive. His stare made my eyes ache, left me speechless. Even a man who'd come from another world felt the weight of the gap. Since the news of Chin family's collapse, people around me had offered pity, but mostly mockery, quiet glee. Only Anthony had truly tried to carve a new path for me. I didn't take his patent, didn't leave the country, because I kept painting dreams. There are too many sons in Chin family. My inheritance isn't guaranteed. Why not just start your own company? All the profits go straight to me. I'll cover everything, your food, clothes, home. It was just a casual thing said offhand. But Anthony's eyes welled up. Thank you for staying. Because of me, I still remember every bit of what he gave, even now, but the system wouldn't let me stay. It said Anthony had already met the protagonist, someone who admired him deeply, and I couldn't delay anymore. I had to hurt him. I needed to crush him hard. So I went back to Anthony's company, just like in college. Yes, when you're the main character, focus on your work and there's nothing you can't achieve. Since university, he'd started a small studio with his lab mates. 2 years later, it had grown into a well-known public company. Unexpectedly, the employees seemed to know me. I hesitated, careful in how I spoke about my relationship with their boss. That reminded me of the 2 years when I was especially close to Anthony. Back then, his company had a product that sold like wildfire. How big? So popular it made even someone like me, a privileged young man, take notice. Overnight, my wallet was full to the brim. I grinned, cupping Anthony's face in both hands, spilling sweet words without a second thought. You're not just stunningly handsome, you're brilliant at making money. No wonder you're the new national favorite. Diamond King number 5. I just can't imagine my life without you anymore. I love you. I love you so much. Anthony raised an eyebrow and pulled out my phone. Then post it on your feed. Officially announce it. I immediately let go of his face. No way, realizing my tone had been too sharp, risking hurt feelings. So I softened it with a promise. We don't need the spotlight. What's one more thing? 2 men together. What difference could it really make to your company? Besides, once I've saved enough, I'll buy you a massive ring. Something that ties us together forever. Promise me we stay like this. always, okay? I gently tugged at Anthony's arm, smiling up at him. Anthony raised an eyebrow again, his expression unreadable. So, should we go somewhere abroad where same-sex marriage is legal and just register there? I immediately let go of his arm, straightening up with a confident grin. No way. Leaving the country would mean triggering an unexpected shift in the plot. No idea what kind of new scenario the system's planning for me. Anthony's expression cooled, his gaze locking onto mine with quiet intensity. I felt a flicker of unease under that stare. Then I stammered out another excuse. Some things are better left between us. After studying me for a few seconds, he exhaled softly and leaned in just slightly, his tone now serious. How about you take me home? Let me meet your parents. No way. The Chin family's parents are always distant, divorced, each chasing their own lives, with a whole string of illegitimate children. After the bankruptcy, they tore off all pretense. They're not exactly people worth meeting. What's the point? My reply was firm, so decisive that neither of us had time to react before the system spoke up first. Host, you really are a born heartbreaker. Host, you're truly born to be a heartless bastard. I knew I picked the right one when I chose you. Holding the new project proposal in my hand, my fingers trembled slightly. System, are you really going through with this? Confirmed. Host, don't say I didn't warn you. Anthony's the protagonist. No matter what he endures, he'll rise again. This is just a minor setback for him. We're supporting characters, expendable. If we don't follow orders, our souls will be erased. Your body will still carry out these actions. Better to do as I say then. I took a deep breath and, trembling, tapped through every page of the bid document, then sold it to Anthony's rival. Yes, just as the host predicted. At 25, Anthony would reclaim his true lineage. He had a family legacy behind him, his own company, and real capability. After weathering this ordeal and ending things with me, he'd thrive even more. I kept telling myself that. Then, fingers still shaking, I bought my ticket, sitting with my luggage in the waiting area. My mind flashed through countless scenes, some sweet, some tense. Others saw me as Anthony, patient but prone to mood swings. But behind it all, I was the one who kept pushing too hard, chasing after him even when I knew better, trying once more to rebuild with promises and subtle manipulation, hoping for a way back, just desperate to find any hope in this final moment. Always calculating my next move, preparing for the worst. I'm selfish, but I think I might actually have fallen for Anthony. It's normal. He's the protagonist, after all. His charm is undeniable. We side characters should keep our distance. Don't even dream of forcing something that won't happen. The only one who'll get hurt is you. I nodded, my gaze drifting to the window, trying hard to silence the ache in my chest. Even if I couldn't let go, after betraying him like that, stealing everything he had and walking away without a word, even someone made of clay would be shattered by me. Samuel, where do you think you're running to? That voice, so familiar, rang in my ear, and suddenly, my wrist was locked in a firm grip. I looked up, stunned, meeting Anthony's face, the same one I knew so well. But this time, his expression was utterly unfamiliar. Anger, disappointment, mockery. Every shade of cold disdain burned in his eyes, chilled me to the bone. I just stared back, my vision blurring at the edges, just like the first time I saw him. And Anthony? He paused only for a breath, then pulled himself together as if nothing had changed. A bitter laugh escaped him, but it wasn't clear who he was mocking. Cry all you want. It won't work on me. Even if you broke down right here, I wouldn't feel a thing. I sat down in Anthony's car, my nerves taut with uncertainty. The only system that could have helped me had vanished, leaving behind just one warning. Host beware. The main character's stats are off. His corruption level has skyrocketed. Don't provoke him. His voice cut off abruptly, as if interrupted by something unseen. No further sound came from it, and Anthony said nothing the whole way home. His silence was unnerving. I stared at his face, shrinking into the corner, silently pleading with the system. Technically, my mission should have been complete. So why hadn't it kept its promise and sent me back? Damn it. The moment he stepped through the door, his gaze locked onto me. Steady, intense, like a hunter zeroing in on prey. I froze, heart pounding, utterly unsettled. Anthony, we agreed. These things should wait until after our wedding. Then he finally spoke his first words upon arriving home. Calm on the surface, yet laced with a quiet, undeniable hurt. So, Will you marry me? Samuel, will you? The question hits me like a cold wave. Speechless. Dreams are called dreams because they're meant to stay just out of reach. But what do I have to stand on? The promise from the system to return home. You've lied to me so many times, and I know. You were just saying it for fun. Still, every time, I found myself hoping, what if this one time, it was real? Samuel, you gave me so many reasons to believe, then took them all away. Have you ever thought about how that feels? Is playing with my heart really that entertaining? Samuel, I'm starting to wonder if you've ever truly felt anything for me at all. Each question lands like a weight, and I have no answer. Even inside myself, the conflict rages on. Was it all just about completing the task? Or was I trying to confess my feelings? Under the watch of the system, knowing he'd never really know, my mind is a storm. My silence seemed like consent to Anthony, and he didn't hesitate. His presence grew colder, sharper, like winter air with no warmth left. Even without the system's warning, I could feel how dangerous he was now. You started this with me, you've got to see it through. He slammed the door shut behind him and left the bedroom. I lay awake, tossing and turning, until dawn broke and I finally drifted into a restless sleep. When I woke again, the sun had already begun to set. At that moment, the bedroom door creaked open. Someone brought in a tray and set it on the nightstand within reach, then left without so much as a glance at me. I recognized him. Anthony's assistant, his most trusted confidant. Timing didn't add up. He should have been at the bidding meeting. Why was he here? Even if we weren't close, I couldn't help asking, where's Anthony? What happened to him? Why are you here? The assistant paused mid-step, his movement faltering slightly. He adjusted his glasses, still refusing to meet my eyes, as if he couldn't bear to look at me. Samuel, our boss has gone to the bidding meeting. He sent me over to look after you. Henry's handling the assistant duties. Samuel. Henry. For a moment, I couldn't decide what to focus on first. He knew full well about my relationship with Anthony, had always called me boss's lady without hesitation. And now he kept his distance, just saying my name like that. Maybe it was because Anthony specifically asked him to. My chest tightened with an odd sense of hurt. Nothing logical, just a quiet ache. As for Henry, I'd heard the name so often, felt familiar before even meeting him. The one Anthony admired, canonically destined to be his equal, the story's leading man. Suddenly it hit me. The system had said Anthony valued him deeply, truly valued him. He'd brought a new recruit instead of his usual assistant to such an important event. For a moment, my spirits sank. I had no appetite and called out to the system again. After completing the task, it should have kept its promise. Let me go home. All I wanted was to return, but 100 calls met only silence. I couldn't accept it. I grabbed the pillow and hurled it at the bedroom door. I stayed on the bed, motionless, until the sun dipped below the horizon. The bedroom door creaked open once more. It was Anthony, carrying a small cake from Peking University to the bedside. He frowned slightly when he saw the untouched food. Samuel, are you going to starve yourself? I said nothing, pretending not to hear. Then the cake box was placed right in front of me. Its sweet aroma tugged at my senses. I waited ages for this one. I closed my eyes and turned my head away sharply. Used to being spoiled by him, I felt utterly wronged and stubbornly refused to give in. All I felt was wounded pride, stubbornly refusing to give in. You're really asking for it. Anthony's voice came close, but the playful lift in his tone gave him away. He was actually pleased. I bristled again. Was he this happy just because Henry had gone out alone? Before I could dwell on it, a warm touch brushed against my lips. A sweet cream flavor seemed to linger from the brush of his mouth. You're with someone else. Yet you still kiss me? I was so flustered, I slapped him without thinking. But my arm felt weak. My hand barely made contact. The next instant, he caught my wrist and pressed it to his cheek. Last night, you were calling me darling, my love. Now why the sudden silence? His words left me flustered. My cheeks and ears burned crimson. I wanted to cover his mouth, and he didn't even blush as he kissed my palm. Then, from his coat, he pulled out a small, square box, glinting faintly inside. I glanced at the box, then back at Anthony, hesitant. Was he asking me to marry him? This is it, he said quietly. The thing that's been controlling you all along. He answered before I could speak. You don't have to deny it. That system, It's no longer inside you. It's sealed in here now. So this wasn't a proposal after all. A strange sense of disappointment washed over me. Wait, so that light is the system? My curiosity sparked instantly. I reached for the box, wanting to examine it, but Anthony stepped back. Stay still. I don't want you to make the same mistake again. The words made sense, so I obliged without protest. My eyes locked onto Anthony's, my voice trembling with barely contained excitement. Soft, almost breathless. How did you figure it out? Hearing my quiet question, he understood at once, his gaze warm with affection. He brushed his lips gently against mine. Just a fleeting touch before answering, even as I frowned in mild protest. Back in college, I noticed something odd. You look at me with more than indifference. You always acted cold, yet your eyes betrayed you. You're imagining things. Who's even interested in you like that? I couldn't help but interrupt. But as Anthony's dark eyes held mine, my voice faded away. You pretend not to care, yet you keep coming back. Always trying to win me over, always soothing me afterward. So many times, I thought you'd gone too far. I even considered walking away. But just as the idea crossed my mind, you'd pull me back in again. It made me wonder, what's really going on with you? And your lies? They're painfully obvious. Who acts so bold while looking guilty all the time? I'm just a nobody. Nothing worth tricking. You chasing me makes no sense. I listened in silence, digesting Anthony's words. All those cracks in my act. I hadn't even realized. Then it hit me, the system had said he was sharp. And now, with his natural brilliance and the kind of focus only a true leader has, nothing seemed beyond him. Even without proof, just by watching me, guessing at my patterns. He'd managed to piece together what the system had hidden, and now he was close to unraveling it entirely. Of course, the lead role always comes with a gift like that. Samuel, this is a scam. Anthony's expression grew solemn. The system confessed after being captured. Your body in your original world was cremated long ago. You can't go back. I stared at Anthony, a storm of emotions swirling inside me. You could stay with me. As for the system forcing you to complete tasks, I'll help you make it pay. Once removed, it's just data, its memories and consciousness can be erased, its powers contained. Then I'll design a full hologram simulation game, managed by the system itself. You could input novels or memoirs, live out new lives within it. Let the system work for you. Keep all the earnings, take every penny of my wealth. Just don't leave me. Is that really enough? Anthony looked at me with those bright, hopeful eyes. Whether it was the original world or the one Anthony now controlled, I seemed to have no better choice left. But I truly love him, so I smiled back. Yet just as quickly, something hit me. I glared at Anthony and turned away. Fine. Go be with your Henry then. Baby, are you jealous? Anthony's eyes lit up, and he pulled me into a quick, warm embrace. 14. Henry's side story. I'm Henry, and I've been tied to the system. He actually wants me to play the sweet, innocent girl to charm men? A man who already has a partner? Damn it, what do they think I am? That guy Anthony. Constantly posting about his relationship online, acting like they're inseparable. Now he wants me to be the third party. Damn system. Lucky for me, I've always been top of my class math, physics, chemistry, all in my grasp. When I heard about HUO Family's open recruitment and the generous pay, it was a clear path. The system keeps nagging me to move forward, oblivious to everything. Right then, I'm going in. I'll have something ready for you before long.